now be live on YouTube. There's a slight delay between Zoom and YouTube, so it's about 20 seconds, right? So for everyone who is joining us on YouTube, hi and welcome. We're going to start our 23rd community call soon. We're going to wait just a few minutes for people to connect. Today we have the bright folks at Braavos and Nostra presenting, so stick around. And likewise, for people on Discord, we are live for the community call. We are going to wait a bit for people to connect. If you want to see our faces and the presentation of our attendees, you should get on the YouTube link and follow the call there. I'm going to deactivate the sound when people join the room. There we go. All right. Cool. So let's give this a couple more minutes. We don't have usually that many people on community call. It's nice. There's 6 of us. Or maybe more. I don't know if some of you are various behind the screen, but it doesn't look like it, at least. All right. Let's start. What do you think? Okay, let's go. So let's start our community call with just a few announcements. So today we're going to have Braavos and Nostra presenting. Before we start and I introduce our guest, I wanted to mention a few things. The first one is that the StarkNet EDU team has started a newsletter for educational resources about Cairo and StarkNet. So it's free. You can subscribe very easily. I'll share the link in the YouTube description so that people can subscribe. We've sent 2 of these. The idea is that we want to send these once every 2 weeks, not more. It's always actionable items, tutorials, and things for you to learn how to code on StarkNet and exchange IDs. We're obviously not going to sell these emails anywhere. You can unplug and whenever you want. But if you're after interesting tutorials, check it out. We're also creating a list of upcoming events. And I wanted to mention that there are a bunch of meetups coming up. Tonight, there's going to be a meetup in Paris. And tonight, well, I guess it depends on where you are in the world. But tonight in Buenos Aires, so in the middle of the night here, there's going to be another meetup in Argentina. And then tomorrow, there's a meetup in Georgia, in Tbilisi. Next week, there's a meetup in London, in the UK, and followed by, so the meetup in London is on the 29th. On the 30th of September, there's a meetup in Belgrade. And on the 4th of October, you'll get a meetup in Brussels. And finally, we're going to get a meetup on the 28th of October in Mexico. So if you're interested in joining any of these events, make sure you, you can subscribe to the newsletter or you can look these events up online. You'll find them very easily. There are also more meetups coming that I haven't mentioned because I don't have the information yet, but it will come soon. Also wanted to mention that, maybe there's a meetup in the city next to you, but not in your city, and you feel, why is there not a meetup in New York, or why is there not a meetup in Rome, or in, I don't know, which city are you guys in?
In Tel Aviv.
So why is there no meetup in Tel Aviv? Right? And maybe a good option for that is for you to throw your first meetup there. So we are super happy to assist you in doing that if that's something that's of interest. It's not that difficult. It's just about gathering a few community members, exchanging ideas, talking things, and seeing where this leads. So if this is something that sounds interesting to you, reach out. We'll be happy to help you organize this. Cool. I think we can start. We have a few people in Discord. We have a few people on YouTube. So let's go. So we're going to start today with Braavos. So Moti, you're from Braavos. Can you tell us a bit more about what it is you do at Braavos and what Braavos does in general? Wait, I need to invite you as a speaker on Discord. Where are you? No, you're
to
there.
speak.
Perfect. Nice, you're there. You can speak and we can hear you.
Excellent, thank you. So thank you for the invitation. And you know, as a side note, I must say it's really cool to hear the vast amount of community activity that is going on, like all over the world. You just counted. I don't know. I stopped counting how many meetups only this month, and this is very cool to hear. You know, and to see the progress of the network from where it was like 6-7 months ago. So extremely nice.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's really nice. There's a lot of dynamism around this.
Yeah, cool. So as Henry said, I'm Moti. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Braavos, and I thought of sharing with you a bit today what we do at Braavos, what our goals are, what we did so far, and what we will do, or what our plans for the near future. So, Henry, if this is okay, I will share a very lightweight presentation. Don't worry, won't be a lot of text.
Super excited.
And
I think you can share your screen.
We'll take you through that. So I'm sharing my screen now. Just let me know that everyone can see that.
We can.
Very cool. So I want to start in our goal at Braavos. You know, we are the founding team of Braavos. It's a team. We know each other, I think, for almost 15 years. We worked together for many years in what you can say a classic Web2 company. And when we came into the space, we found crypto, like real crypto, decentralized crypto, self-custodial crypto, very intimidating, very cumbersome. Although we all have a very deep technical background, even for us, there was a learning curve in even using crypto, not to mention understanding the technology. Our goal in Braavos is, as the slide says, is to make crypto intuitive and secure for everyday users. So even not for technical, but for everyday users that come into crypto, that they will have the power and the ability to easily take control over their assets. I think one of the amazing statistics that I learned when I came into the space is even current crypto users, the early adopters of crypto today, the vast majority of them uses centralized solutions. So we are talking about 80-90% of crypto users worldwide uses centralized solutions like Coinbase and FTX and Binance, and they used to use Celsius and these kind of solutions. And frankly, you know, you can blame them because currently these centralized solutions give a much better experience than, let's call it the native crypto, the decentralized crypto, and the self-custodial crypto. But hand in hand, they are not really crypto, and we saw that in recent events in the market and with the live example of Celsius and others. So our goal here in Braavos is to bridge that security and that experience gap, and we have decided to build on StarkNet because we feel that StarkNet, besides its amazing technology, it gives a very good opportunity to scale Ethereum and blockchain at large, and help us mitigate those gaps. And I will touch upon that a bit further. So, really quickly, what we did so far. So, first of all, when we started, we created a standardized library that enables any dApp on StarkNet to connect to any wallet, both existing and future and wallets that will come in the future. So removing the burden of handling and developing the connections to wallet to each and every dApp from the start, and having a community lib, which you can see the GitHub URL on the slide, get StarkNet, that by importing a simple line of code, each and every dApp can simply connect to any wallet on StarkNet. Currently, there are only 2. Once we did that, we've released, I think 4 or 5 months ago, the first version of the wallet was a browser extension on Chrome with the basic functionality and some more. We introduced into StarkNet having NFTs inside the wallet, having the classical regular image NFTs, having 3D images that users can see and play with in their wallet. Of course, audio NFTs and video NFTs. So all that came with the first version. We also added support for multiple browsers, so you can access StarkNet not only from Chrome, but also from Firefox, Brave, and if you have to, you can use Edge as well. Following that, we added a feature for developers that we call headless mode. This is for developers who use the development network, a local DevNet, or a remote DevNet that it's unique to them. And it actually allows a streamlining of automatic testing using the wallet. So developers can create end-to-end tests of their dApps and their protocols using the wallet as in its full functionality, without the need to break the test on each and every transaction. From there, we continue to introduce Transaction Explainer on StarkNet. Also, like the other features, we were the first to introduce that, and that was extremely important to me because when I started in crypto and I saw the things that wallet asked me to sign on, it was very non-intuitive to understand what am I signing on. And it was really important to us to let the user know what the protocol or what a specific dApp requests for them to do. So if they request, for example, for an unlimited approval to access their funds, then the users should know that and should take a conscious decision whether to sign that transaction or not to sign that transaction. And I think this is part of a better user experience that we are looking for bringing in on StarkNet. Another thing that we added is a protection from transferring funds to a non-existing account. We can utilize the fact that every wallet on StarkNet has an account on chain. We can verify that the destination exists even before a user sends the money. And in that way, we can protect users from typos or miscopying addresses, etc. Another thing that we do, we deployed and published our mobile wallet, both for iOS and Android. Now everyone can have Stark-proof crypto in their pockets. And not only that, we also allow from within the wallet access to all of StarkNet dApps from the mobile. So actually, this is the only way today to access StarkNet only native way to access StarkNet from mobile, interact with apps, and sign transactions. Last, lately we also added an exchange built in the wallet itself, so users can easily swap between their assets. Currently only 5 on mainnet, but as the network will progress, also the assets themselves. So this is like a very short summary of what we did in the past 4 or 5 months, and maybe a bit about what we plan to do in the future. And that's mainly to focus. I would say that up until now we introduced and delivered the bread and butter features of a wallet. The basic one with signing and having NFTs and exchange within the wallet. But our main focus now, and you will see it in the upcoming releases of Braavos on all platforms, is to utilize the fact that we have a smart contract on chain that can really help us both increase user security and improve the user experience. And 2 classical examples are two-factor authentication, or even multi-factor authentication, if you will, and account segmentation. The fact that I can limit my daily spend in a specific account. We think that these are features that users are used to from centralized solution, from Web2, and here with StarkNet we have a great opportunity to implement it also in a decentralized self-custodial nature. And these are just 2 examples of a lot more things that we plan to do in the future, utilizing the smart contract nature of the wallet. And another thing is we don't want only exchange to reside within the wallet, but also to allow users to earn yield on the tokens that they have in the wallet itself. So these are things that are on the immediate agenda, with much more to come further down the road. So basically that's it. I promised a short presentation and hopefully delivered. We'll be happy to take questions.
Awesome, thank you. I have a question. There's a question in the audience. So Fury is asking, I have a question to the Braavos team. You said many dApps in crypto are not really decentralized. Could you explain what ensures decentralization in your app? Thank you in advance. I think globally, it's interesting. Smart contracts wallet are a new kind of entity, let's say. And can you explain a bit what role Braavos, the company, plays for Braavos, the wallet, and how independent are the users from the developers of the smart contract, please?
Yes, of course. So, naturally, currently, Braavos is as an entity, as a development group, is fully centralized. But since we strongly believe in decentralization, we believe that having people easily and securely having full control over their asset is a necessity. Then our plan is to decentralize the protocol down the road. Of course, the smart contract layer, which is inherently decentralized, but also the applications itself. What will be exactly the nature of decentralization is still TBD. But no doubt that's the end goal that we strive to.
But I mean, even if you go away, like if you don't consider the future right now, if I want to use my wallet without going through your servers, I can, right? I mean, I can interact with the smart contract, sign something, and send it. And you have no way of moving my funds, right?
Of course. So thank you for this clarification, Henry, because I didn't realize that the question directs to that point. So Braavos as a company has no servers. The wallet itself is a client-side wallet that communicates with the smart contract that are on the StarkNet blockchain. And there is no intervention whatsoever from, let's call it the Braavos central entity to the Braavos wallet. We don't even have statistics or analytics that we send out of the wallet that can expose anything about the user or can jeopardize in any way its security. So Braavos as a client software currently and as a smart contract on chain is completely decentralized today.
Really cool, thanks. I've heard somebody make the point that decentralization for wallets and self-custody is as much of a need for users as it is a need for operators, meaning that, you know, it's important for users to be able to be sovereign with their asset. But what we see with the world today is that a lot of people are comfortable with giving trust to some entities to manipulate their assets. We can mention the traditional world, obviously, but we can also mention, you know, Coinbase, Kraken, all of these big entities. So it seems that it's important, but a lot of users maybe don't value this that much. But that the custody risk, bearing the risk of holding user asset, if you can avoid that as a company, this has a lot of value and it's a liability you don't want to take on you. Is it something you guys consider, like the fact that we're very happy to do a wallet, but technically we have no responsibility or a limited responsibility with safekeeping the funds of our users?
So actually, we look at it from the opposite direction. So I think it's a conscious decision, and this is what we believe in, that no entity should have control over your assets. I think it's, as I said at the beginning, and as Henry, as you mentioned, this is easier for users, and currently centralized solution, custodial solution that holds user money are easier to use, but they are easier to use until something happens. And I think that only in the past few months, we had quite a few examples of things that happen that the user thought that their funds are secured and they had no access to their fund all of a sudden. And we can mention at the beginning of the year what happened with the trucker protest in Canada, that the government in an emergency act law decided to, without due process, to actually deplatform everyone who was suspicious to participate in the protest out of the financial system. And you know, never mind what you think about the protest and whether these guys were right or they broke the law or whatever. But doing that without due process should alarm anyone, especially in a Western democracy such as Canada. We see the war now in Central Europe that prevents civilians from both sides to access their funds. We saw in the latest crypto crash, we saw centralized entities that simply crashed, and users thought that they had their funds secure and they had even a lot of funds, but actually they don't have any access to their fund, and they are waiting for the court to decide what remaining of their original assets, if and when they will get. So for us, it's not that it's easier to not have custody on user funds. I think it's not easier. I think that the technology and the UX and security hurdles that we need to solve are much harder compared to centralized solution, and they bring a real challenge into the table. But I think that if and when we will solve that, we will get a much better crypto and much better new financial ecosystem in which people are on the one hand, have full control over their assets, but on the other hand, they don't bear the enormous burden of understanding seed phrases and private keys, and having a single small mistake and I get all my money taken away or lost. And I think this is the real challenge that we try to take upon on Braavos.
That's really interesting, and a really interesting counterpoint. I guess, I mean, planning for the worst and planning for the long term is difficult. And even, I think even for Web2 company, it's difficult. Like, I don't know, there are 5 people on this call. How many of you have set up some kind of system for whatever happened if you disappear, who gets a hold of your email account? Have you? I have. Anyone else? Nobody? See, so that's like, I think that these questions, as you mentioned, they're legitimately hard, because it's really hard to figure out how do we recover in the digital world when something happened in the physical world. And even in Web 2, this is not solved. It's not really clear what happens to your Facebook account, to your Gmail account. There are some processes, but they're very opaque. They're not very transparent. And there are some tools, but, you know, we don't have the hindsight of time. You know, you will get a very good service for what should be done with a user's email when he dies, once a large number of people will have died, and this will take a long time, because these services are much younger than the average life expectancy of a human. So I think this is even for Web2, this is an unsolved problem, and I find it fascinating that you guys are trying to tackle it.
Yeah, I think maybe just one small comment. I think that it's true regarding your Facebook, Instagram, etc. account and email account, but I think in like when we talk about finance, it sometimes it has dramatic effect on real life, on people's life. So if someone died and he has a 100K $1 million or whatever number that you want, that for a specific family, it's like their entire budget, and only that guy had an access to that account. Then let's call it in TradFi, there is a solution for that. But here, this is something which is simply a must in order for this system to thrive.
No, you're absolutely right. But to me, this mechanism of, you die and somebody has access to your bank account, this is not a digital path. It's a paper path. It's something that existed before the internet, and we implemented something on top of it. It's not something that is digital native. And for things that are natively digital, handling death seems like a new thing to me. But you're absolutely right. These processes, you don't need to reinvent them fully. There is something existing in TradFi, and we can draw a lot of interesting ideas from this.
Yeah, so the point is that it exists in TradFi, and in order to bring the everyday users into crypto, we need to give them the same level of functionality, let's call that. But we don't have the luxury of being centralized or being custodial in real crypto.
That makes sense. Moti, thanks a lot for coming and talking with us. Where do people find you or Braavos? How do people read more things about Braavos?
So I'm at the Twitter handle Motilen, Mottyen. Braavos is Twitter handle @mybraavos. Braavos.app, this is the website with links to all the apps, Chrome Store extension, Android, iOS, and also our blog posts that elaborate more on the things I touched upon in the presentation and in the discussion with Henry. So if you are interested, then you are most welcome.
Fantastic, thank you. Let's go with our second guest. Let's now welcome the team at Nostra. Hi guys. So how many of you are there? There's 1, 2, 3, 4 people. Nice. Can you introduce yourself, please? Oh, wait. Maybe you need to talk in Discord. I need to add you in Discord.
Yes.
So can you raise your hand or something like that? You should be able to talk. I can see one. I can see RTP. I can see Mijovic, OX Toro. And so I got 3 people. One is missing. Olaf.
Yeah, I think he joined
You're in?
accidentally to this call.
Hi, I'm just listening in.
Okay, fine, no problem. Okay, so welcome to the Nostra team. Guys, can you introduce yourselves in a few minutes, please?
Sure. I mean, I'll go ahead. So my name is Richard. I'm head of product at Nostra. And yeah, I just try to solve problems with the team. Got a banking or a background in banking. And perhaps you can tell I'm from England, London. So.
I can be the next. I'm the technical co-founder of Tempus or Nostra, and before that I worked at Ethereum Foundation on Solidity.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Tony, you want to go
Tony.
next? You have a StarkNet shirt.
Sorry, can you hear me fine? I'm not sure how this double this channel goes. Perfect.
We can hear
so,
you.
My name is Tony. I'm the head of marketing at Nostra, and yeah, I in the last couple of years I was the head of communications at Hermes Network, which is a CK rollup working to scale Ethereum. So I'm quite familiar with the zero knowledge technology, although I'm not as technical as say George. Yeah, very happy to be here and very bullish on the StarkNet ecosystem.
Super happy to have you. So thank you for joining us today. So Nostra, I think I heard about Nostra pretty recently, right? Is it because I think you guys rebranded, you were Tempus before? Can you tell us a bit more about what it is you do, please?
Sure, I can take that. So yeah, so the team behind Nostra is Tempus, and Tempus was our first product, a fixed income product on Ethereum mainnet, and we recently rebranded to broaden the scope of our DeFi product line, and Nostra is the first of that scope. The reason why we've done that is because, you know, as a team, we're on a mission to like increase the adoption of DeFi, right, and make it more accessible. And you know, a fixed yield sort of interest rate swap product is not quite that product that we feel is going to do that. It could be the timing, but it's also if you think about sort of like Apple, you have iPhone, you have iPad, iMac, and so all products to penetrate different market needs and solve different problems. And so we think the same thing with DeFi. And so we spun up Nostra to be the liquidity layer of StarkNet. Oh, now you think about sounds good, right? What does that mean? What I like to think of it like Ethereum is bringing the security layer. StarkNet is the scalability layer, and Nostra is the liquidity layer. Okay. Yeah, I know you like the L3s, and we're talking about layer 3s. Well, here we go, Henry. And so first and foremost, we announced a good few weeks ago about our money market product, and so just think about a simple borrow and lend experience where if you have an asset you want to earn from it, you can deposit into our money markets, and at the same time, there's another side to that. You have people who want to perhaps express their view in the market, be that leverage, be that in this sort of way, shape, or form. They want to borrow an asset, and so there's a two-sided marketplace there. And so that's a sort of like the kind of base layer almost of our product offering. It's also very versatile. The way we thought about it. I mean, of course, it's not new. Money markets have been there since Compound and Aave, etc. But with innovation, there's always iterative improvements that we can do. And albeit Ethereum mainnet money markets are sort of have a limiting factor of their speed as well as transaction costs, right? So this is one thing that StarkNet enables us to do, and to increase that DeFi adoption that we are on a mission to.
So does this mean that you can do more with your money market protocol? You can add more logic into your transactions?
In the future, yes. In the future, yes. I mean, it makes it definitely a lot cheaper. You can think about the average retail person who perhaps saves a small amount of their wages every month. You don't want to pay, £2 or $2 or $5 for a transaction. I think the average transaction fee on Ethereum over the last few months has been like $30. And so that's not like really feasible, right? And that's a large percentage of someone's perhaps allocation.
Makes sense. And what kind of tokens do you guys plan on listing? Big ones? Can anyone list any token?
Yeah, sure. So initially, it's going to be sort of permissioned in the sense that we will sort of manage our risk, right, and only sort of list high quality assets. So be it Ethereum, WBTC, DAI, USDC, etc. But over time, we want to sort of there's sort of like on the roadmap to make that permissionless, and so any asset could be listed in based on demand, based on the DAO, etc. Obviously, DAO infrastructure on StarkNet still needs to be sort of built out. But also we have tokenized assets, right? So we have like kind of 4 positions that people can have. You can deposit your token and do nothing with it. And we call that sort of just a simple Nostra token, right? It could be ETH, but it's not out on the market for lending and you're not borrowing against it. So that's sort of one option. There's another one where like you want to borrow against your ETH, and we call that like iTokenC. So it's like, it's a collateralized token. And then we have like iToken. So you're not borrowing against it, but you're lending it on the market so you can get some rates back. So we've kind of tokenized these asset positions where you won't necessarily find that on all types of market, just to make it versatile and the thing composable. Also, some key features is we have sub accounts and asset tiers to help our customers and users manage their risk accordingly. Yeah.
Very interesting, thank you. But you guys also launched a stablecoin, right?
Correct. Yes. So last week we announced the first native stablecoin on StarkNet, which is UNO. There we go. Let's party poppers. And what that is it's an over-collateralized crypto-backed stablecoin. And we thought that we looked at the current designs out there, and that is for us the safest sort of place to be in terms of like algo stablecoins and sort of fiat-backed stablecoins. We want it to be crypto-backed, one, because it could be censorship resistant. We've kind of seen what happened with the likes of the other coins, where there's a censorship risk, and so because of that censorship risk, we want to eliminate that. And so for now and initially, we're only going to be accepting ETH as a collateral to back UNO. So that's one key decision that we made. Another thing is that we want to integrate our stablecoin with Nostra. There needs to be some sort of synergistic benefits there. And so what we're doing is allowing our users to deposit ETH to mint UNO, but also get yield on that ETH while they're using UNO. So their ETH will be going into the Nostra money market, earning the yield over time. That would accrue to the minter. And so we think that's really kind of unique and also beneficial in that if the person the minter wants to spend, it's they're getting a yield and it's being productive in the background.
Doesn't this mean that technically when you're depositing money and you can mint UNO, I imagine you're going to pay some rate. So the rate for UNO will be in competition with the rate you pay to borrow, say, other stablecoins in your protocol. Like, shouldn't the rate of borrowing UNO and the rate of borrowing, say, USDC, if it's a stablecoin, shouldn't they converge?
Well, there wouldn't be any rate to borrow UNO. You would earn if anything is negative. So it's going to be free to mint. There's going to be no charge to mint, and no charge to redeem, right? But in the background, where there's a yield of say 10%, a small percentage of that is going to Nostra as a fee. So we're not taking any front load or front end or back end fee.
Understood. Thank you. Okay, so now I have a follow-up question for your dev team. So I'm curious, who is it based in London here? You, Richard? Who else? Tony, you're in London or somewhere else?
At Bing, I used to be pre-pandemic, but no, not anymore.
Okay. And Mijovic, where are you?
Yes, I'm based in Belgrade, Serbia.
Ah, okay. So you guys are spread out. How many people are in the team?
Well, in total, we have, I think, right now 24 people. Development team itself is 5 backend and 5 front-end, so maybe 10 in total.
That's decent. And you guys all do Cairo?
Not everybody. 5 people from the backend team work full-time on Cairo, and front-end team is working on the actual product. And with a large help of, let's say, research and product team, we are very happy how we progress with Cairo.
Nice. You mentioned earlier that you worked with the Ethereum Foundation in the past, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, I imagine that having to learn a new language, having to, I don't know, how does it feel to try a new language, and how does it feel that language is Cairo? What has been your experience so far with Cairo?
Yeah, that's a very good question for Cairo specifically. It was very painful at the beginning because you lack some features that you are used to and you use some other languages, C++, Solidity in my case. But for us, it's getting better and better. And we learned so many new patterns that we are forced to use when we use Cairo. And it went really well for us. We are very happy, but I think we'll be much more happy when Cairo 1.0 release is there. I think some parts of the code will be much simpler in our case and will look much nicer and altogether safer, let's say.
Yeah, it feels a bit like it feels a bit like we spent so much time learning this new language, learning these new patterns, and then something new comes up and it will change. But I think that's for a lot of context, that's how software development works in general, and especially for younger languages. But I'm glad you guys were able to make it work. And so you guys onboarded a bunch of people to Cairo, and you recently announced a 5 million ecosystem fund. Can you talk a bit more about it? What it is? How can people benefit from it? I think the Richard is the right person for this question, right?
Sorry, yeah, I'm just trying to unmute myself on the two platforms here. So we announced our 5 million DAI ecosystem fund pretty shortly after we launched our brand, launched Nostra. And the reason being is because we know that how important it is for other protocols and other projects to build on Nostra. As I said, we kind of want to position ourselves to be a liquidity layer on StarkNet. And so for that, we believe having liquidity network effects is important, i.e. being fully embedded. And so we want to make sure that any projects out there in StarkNet ecosystem can be supported by us, right? And if they're short on resources, technically or economically, we want to support that. And so that's on the technical side as well as on the community side. With a lot of things, crypto and Web3 is about digital ownership, etc., and democratizing financial assets and self-custody. So we know the importance of community, and so for now, since we haven't open sourced our code yet, which it will be after the audit, we're sort of allocating or focusing sort of this fund on the community. So we've got lots of missions for the community to get involved with, creating memes, all sorts of fun and games to help sort of cultivate that community and help support us. So yeah, that's the lowdown.
Very nice, thank you. So I want to come back a bit to if we can to Cairo and your experience around it. So you guys are you have 5 devs working on Cairo. What was the process of getting these people onboarded? Did you all onboard at the same time? Did you hire some people and then train them on the Cairo? And what would you suggest to people to onboard people to Cairo? And I think there's a connection, right, also with your ecosystem fund. Part of it is to onboard people to Cairo. Any ideas on how you can leverage the grants to onboard people to Cairo?
Yeah, so for us, it was most of the time, actually, what happened is one of the devs from the team started earlier. He started learning, and then it was much smoother experience for us because we have his experience, let's say, because he was the first one to see. But in general, after our road to learning Cairo, we actually found that it's very important to share our experience with everybody, like in the StarkNet community. And we started actually writing Twitter threads on Cairo and its features. Of course, it started with very basic stuff because we think not only smart contract devs should learn Cairo. Sometime in future, all devs that want to learn like Web3, no matter if they already know Rust or Solidity. So we started with very basic stuff, but some more advanced topics are coming. And well, we also kind of, as we mentioned about our fund, we would benefit a lot by getting more devs learning Cairo, because then they can build on top of us or like integrate with us, work together. And I think this can help everybody in the StarkNet ecosystem. Yeah.
So when you're talking with a Web3 dev, say you meet a Web3 dev and you talk to him about what you're doing today with Cairo, how do you get him excited about that? What's exciting to you that you usually tell to people, hey, you should write Cairo? Why should people write Cairo, in your opinion?
First of all, for us, it was a huge benefit that we can do a lot of computation, which is advanced. We have been building on, let's say, Ethereum and EVM-based blockchains. It has its own limitations, and it's really hard to do some advanced mathematics without, like, it's even impossible. And for some of them, you need to pay a huge amount of gas, which is like unusable in my opinion. So this is the first.
Do you have an example of things like mathematical things you can't do on the EVM and you can do in Cairo?
Yeah, for example, if you look at the formula, I will mention the third team here. So, for example, SIT-swap and the exchange they are building, for example, the formula they used, it's impossible to calculate on EVM blockchain because it has not square roots, but like third grade roots and stuff like that. But also, it's Cairo is basically the only way right now to build on StarkNet. And I think there are some efforts to translate some other languages to Cairo, but I think it's much easier to write actually native code because you can benefit of a lot of different things. And of course, I really believe that StarkNet is the choice for layer 2s. That's just my opinion. So it's not any advice to anybody else. Yeah.
Cool, thank you. So I obviously tend to agree with you. I like StarkNet also. I think that it's nice. We have a nice platform. It works. You can write provable code. You can do a lot of interesting things, a lot of interesting mathematics. But it's still a network, and a network has value when it has participants and it has a vibrant community. And it's something that's like we need to cultivate. We need to grow the community around StarkNet, around Cairo, and to a large extent, you guys have the same thing around Nostra. You're trying to grow the community around Nostra to get more people to integrate it, to use it. I'm curious if you have some, like, what's your approach towards building a community around Nostra, and how, like, if people want to join the community, how would they say, what's your call to action to them? When people say, hey, I like what you do, what's the next step for them to get involved?
I guess I'll take this one, if that's okay. Yeah, so I mean, like, I don't want to sound too much like this, like Silicon Valley-ish, the series, not the Bay, but it just comes down to connecting people, right? Like, we live in a time just full of distractions. There's people competing for your attention. There's always this new thing coming to give you dopamine. But if we manage to create a place where just people can have fun and just enjoy the vibe and the memes, and you find maybe a good environment to collaborate with others towards common goals, that's when you found a community you like, right? And I think our task as, I don't even know how to call it, like Web3 marketeers or whatever, is to like facilitate these connections, right? To make a cool server, a cool place to hang out, and and to meet others and enable participations, listen constantly to the community members, and be, say, open to experiment with them and to co-create with them and let them expand this brand that we created at the beginning, but just let them expand it and turn it into something bigger. Turn it maybe into a culture. And probably my favorite sentence that I keep reading from one of the community leads in the Nostra Discord server, which we call La Familia, he keeps saying, "We're building this together." And I love that because it captures perfectly this new way of building community. It's not a team setting this up. Is we're doing this actually together. And the good thing also is, like, there's plenty of options. There's a place for you. There's a place for everyone. So you may try a Discord server or a Telegram group. You may not like the vibe or the memes or whatever. That's no problem. There's literally thousands of places around. So, like, you can try until you find a place that resonates with you. And speaking of our say, if you want to try out where we're cooking at La Familia, just head to nostra.finance and you'll find a big Discord button. Hit it, join the server, and let's see if you enjoy the games. We are waiting for you, as my t-shirt in StarkNet said as well.
Nice. And if I design a cool meme, will I get a shirt with the meme on top of it?
Well, actually, we had already one first, like, some meme competition, and we may turn those memes into t-shirts in the not so distant future. So yeah, you might as well submit yours.
Very nice. Guys, we're reaching the end of our community call. I want to thank you for joining, all three of you, and Moti from Braavos from joining earlier. I will conclude this community call by saying, again, we didn't talk that much about technical stuff. 0.10 is behind us. There was a big announcement last week about Cairo 1.0. We didn't talk about it this week. If it's something that is of interest to you, dear listener, please let us know. Where the goal of this community call is kind of like what Tony said, we're doing this together. So we get cool builders from the ecosystem presenting what they're working on. Sometimes we get architects or engineers from Starkware presenting what they're doing or presenting the roadmap. Let us know what you like and what you want to listen, and let's have the next community call fit what you guys want to hear. Anyway, thanks again to our guests, and I hope everyone has a great week. See you soon.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.